Flying to Mexico? If you're a charter or unscheduled commercial operator, there are some things you should know before you go. From the National Business Aviation Association, this is Flight Plan. I'm Pete Combs with your trusted source for business aviation news. If you fly for a living, you're probably familiar with the term cabotage. It's the transportation of goods and passengers between two places in the same country by an operator from a different country. In Mexico, the rules are a little different than in other countries, but Juan Muniz at Universal Weather and Aviation says they're pretty easy to understand. Juan is Universal's manager of Global Regulatory Services.
The two basic rules to always remember is that a charter or non-scheduled operator cannot make more than 2 stops within the country. And the second part is that a passenger that is transported into Mexico on one charter or non-scheduled commercial operator cannot be transported out of the country by a different one.
Muniz says Mexico stepped up enforcement of these rules after an accident in December 2012 involving a U.S.-registered aircraft carrying singer Jenni Rivera near Monterrey. Juan, can you give me an example of the first rule, the one restricting non-Mexican operators from making more than 2 stops?
Sure. So if an aircraft is going from Houston to Cancun, they can only go into Cancun and come out of the country back into the U.S. or another foreign country. However, if they want to go Houston, Cancun to Mexico City, that wouldn't be allowed. Even if they're transporting the same passengers, a charter operator can't make those 2 stops.
There is an exception.
Mexico requires all foreign aircraft coming in from Central, South America, or the Caribbean to make a custom stop in either Cozumel or Tapachula, Cozumel on the Caribbean side and Tapachula on the Pacific side. You have to make that stop there to clear customs. Then you can proceed to your destination. That's the only exception to making multiple stops within the country.
I'll have more on Mexico's unique cabotage rules in just a moment, but first, please, this message.
NBAA is now partners with Virtual Flight Surgeons and offering members an exclusive 10% discount on the complete aeromedical services program, with access to comprehensive aeromedical advice and FAA medical certification assistance. This program saves you time and money and protects your career. Check it out on the website at nbaa.org/medical or call 1-866-AERO-MED.
Welcome back to NBAA's Flight Plan. I'm Pete Combs. I'm talking with Juan Muniz, manager of Global Regulatory Services at Universal Weather and Aviation. We're talking about Mexico's unique rules regarding cabotage. Now, we've covered the restrictions on the number of destinations you can fly to during a single trip, but there's another interesting facet to this. Juan explains it this way.
If a passenger comes into Mexico and charter operator A on aircraft A comes in and drops them off, charter operator B cannot transport them out. However, if it's charter operator A still with a different aircraft B, let's say, that is still allowed because in essence, that is the same operator.
Muniz says there are always exceptions for safety or fuel issues, say in the case of a diversion caused by weather. And his advice to U.S. companies planning to operate in Mexico?
I would say have a trustworthy contact in Mexico that would be able to be a mediator between the operator and DGAC, only because a lot of the processes have to be done in person to be able to get certain authorizations. So if you have representation in the country, it's always a big plus.
For more information, check out the International Operations section of the NBAA website. That's nbaa.org/ops/INTL. And that's the latest from the National Business Aviation Association. Remember, you can subscribe to all Flight Plan podcasts at Apple's iTunes website or download them from nbaa.org. I'm Pete Combs. Thanks for listening to Flight Plan.